You alright, mate? How you doing? Do you want to come to my house and play with some little men this weekend? What? Play with some little men? You freak. How you doing, guys? Big Mac Dansicle here again today with another fine episode of Warhammer Thoughty K. So this episode is about how people outside of the hobby view the hobby, and how you shouldn't let their views affect, or you shouldn't worry about other people's views, because at the end of the day, it's your hobby, it's my hobby, it's, whatever hobby and interest you have, it's up to you. It's not up to them. So here we go. So I've seen videos online before, or I've seen questions being asked on Q&As before about how do you tell someone you're into wargaming, into painting little men and moving them around a table and rolling dice to see if this little man kills that little man. And to me, it's a shame that that's a question, because you shouldn't feel the need to, you shouldn't be worried about telling people about the hobby, basically. Whatever makes you happy in your own personal time and your private life is entirely up to you. And at the end of the day, if people who don't play the hobby, don't partake in the hobby, I should say, if they think it's weird that you do, then that's their decision. You might not change some people's views, but at the end of the day, if they can see that this hobby is good for you, it helps. Like I've spoken before about, it helps me calm down, wind down kind of thing when I'm painting a miniature, when I'm building a miniature. Then if they can see, if this is a person that cares about you, and if they can see that those things are happening for you, then they should encourage you to do the hobby, really. Now, other people, or more people outside the hobby, may just look at the price point of the hobby, and it's there's no two ways about it. This hobby can be expensive, but they don't see the value in it the same way that you might, or that I might, because I might spend £100 on a miniature. I don't know what miniature I might spend £100 on, but there's miniatures out there that might spend £100 on. Let's say £95 on an Imperial Knight if I got it direct from Games Workshop. Now I might spend £100 or £95 on that, but then I get weeks or months of enjoyment out of that, because I get to build that knight, I get to choose what pose it goes in, I tell a narrative through the way I build it, and then I get to paint it in the colours of my own personal knightly household that I created, and all of that it's enriching for me. Now, people see their own hobbies and they understand their own hobby straight away. Do you have to make them understand your hobby? I'd say no. But it's good if you can communicate to them that your hobby is good for you, and convince them, if you really feel the need to convince them that your hobby is doing you're getting value for money in your hobby, then that's a good thing. Somebody might go out and buy an Xbox game. I've spoken about this in videos before, I know that. Somebody might go out and buy an Xbox game. I don't know how much they are now, 60 quid, something like that maybe. And some people complete games in, a few hours. And then they're like, well, I might as well trade that in now and get another game next week, whatever game's coming out next week. And then they end up basically losing 20, 30, 40 quid because they're trading that game in. Now, that for me is not value for money, because if you've completed it in a couple of hours, then you've completed it in a couple of hours, and you've thrown 20, 30 quid, whatever it is that you may lose, you've thrown that down the toilet almost. But for those 2 or 3 hours that it took you to complete the game, you were having such a good time that it is worth it to that person. It's what you get out of the hobby more than what others might perceive you should get out of the hobby. It's what you see that's important, not what others see that's important. Now, some people are always going to have this stigma attached to wargaming. Oh, it's for geeks, and it's it's for nerds just building. Let's build a little man and pretend we're in a war. But does that really matter? It doesn't matter to me. When people in work, if they say, "What are you up to this weekend?" I'll turn around to them and say, "I'll be painting some little men." And these are all different types of people. A lot of people at my work are like middle-aged men. They don't understand what I get out of painting little men. They take the mickey out of me for it, but it doesn't really bother me because I know what I get out of it. It helps calm me. It helps me focus. It helps me put my energies into something that I enjoy. And at the end of the day, that's what I want in my personal life. I might, I don't just paint little men. I go out. I do other things as well. I do things that society perceives as normal. I go out and have a drink with mates. I go and watch a film. I go to sporting events. I go to the theatre. Some people think going to the theatre's weird, but I've just gotten into going to. Well, I say I've just gotten into going to the theatre. What I mean is, I've got a friend now that I go to the theatre with now and again. And I enjoy it. It's just like go watch a film, but you've got to change your perception of reality to accept that what's in front of you, the story that's being told is real. Because obviously on a film you can be more immersed, but in a theatre you have to get yourself immersed, kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, people are going to do what hobbies make them happy, and the hobby that makes you happy, you shouldn't really worry about what other people think about it. If you want to keep it private, if you don't want to talk to other people, don't worry about that either. Let's say a young guy at uni or something, is in his uni halls or his house. He paints little men at the weekend, and then he goes out on a night out. He pulls a girl. He gets her back to his, and then the next morning she wakes up and she's like, "Why have you got these toys?" Just tell her. I paint them, I build and paint them, I enjoy playing with them. Don't worry about what other people think about the hobby, because if you do it, you'll take your own enjoyment out of the hobby. That's what I think anyway. So just be nice and open about it, and don't try and hide things. The question shouldn't be how do I get other people into the hobby and how do I show them it's a really fun, enjoyable hobby. You should just have to show them what you get out of the hobby, and then if they decide it looks like a fun hobby because they can see your enjoyment and what you get out of the hobby, then they're more likely to want to understand it and dip their toe in the water. That's all I've got for you today. A really short one. It's probably the shortest one I've done so far. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the battlefield.